What's up, you guys? So I have a book review for you guys. I'm actually gonna be bulk recording a few book reviews because I finally have the time, and a book haul. I just recorded a book haul as well. But yeah, so I have a book review for you guys. This is a little bit of a disappointed book review, I will say. There's definitely going to be spoilers. If you have not read these books and you don't want any spoilers, I guess don't watch this video. But I don't care about spoilers personally, even if I've literally watched videos where they're like completely telling like all the spoilers of the book, and I can still read it and be like, wow, that's amazing. Like I haven't read it, even though I know what's gonna happen, but like it just doesn't ruin it for me. I don't know. But I feel like book reviews without giving any kind of details are frustrating to me. So I'm going to be giving you details, little spoilers, whatever. So the book that I'm going to be reviewing is Choices by Deborah Lynn Jacobs. I have this in a haul that I showed you guys. I was very, very excited about this book because I actually read it. I haven't even taken the dust cover off. That's crazy because normally I would have. That just has like little like red writing. Yeah, so I had put this book in a haul not that long ago. Was it not that long ago? Actually, it's maybe been a while. I showed you guys that I got this book and I was so excited about it because I actually read this book when I was like maybe like 12, I guess, and then I read it again whenever I was in high school, and then I hadn't seen it again since then, so I hadn't reread it with like an adult mind, an adult mindset, and so when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I should order it on Amazon. So I ordered it on Amazon, got the book. I was so excited. I was like, yes, this is gonna be the best. This has been a book that I've been like raving about, like ever since I was younger. I've always been like, oh yeah, like one of my favorite books is Choices by Deborah Lynn Jacobs. I love this book. Like, I've always thought about this book, and I've always thought about it in such a high regard and been like, oh my gosh, I love this book. This book is amazing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, being an adult, you see things a little different than you did when you were a child. That is how I feel about this book. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. So the basis of the book, which really wouldn't be giving anything away, is to say that Kathleen loses her brother in an accident. From the moment that she loses her brother, her life is going downhill because she's in grief. Her family is completely out of it. They're grieving. They're not there for each other. Like, she's very alone. Her best friend is a lot to blame as to why. So her best friend got drunk at a party and was like messing around with this guy, whatever. So Kathleen had to call her brother to come and pick her up, and that's why he was driving at all, and there was snow and everything, so he ended up getting into an accident and he passed away. Then the police come and they get her. She goes to the hospital. She finds out about her brother. She's mad at her best friend because she's like, I can't believe you. Like, you left me in a time when I needed you. Like, if you wouldn't have been doing whatever, I wouldn't have had to call my brother. He wouldn't have gotten into an accident, blah, blah, blah. So her and her best friend decide, so she ignores her best friend and she's not going to talk to her anymore. So from that decision on, the next day, whenever she goes to sleep, she wakes up, they go and they're having the funeral service. Her best friend comes in and is like, hey, how are you doing, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh my gosh, I thought I was never going to talk to you. I thought you were never going to come. And she was like, what are you talking about? I told you yesterday that I was going to come. And she's like, but she's like, because the best friend came and she ignored her. She didn't open the door for her. Like, she completely ignored her, whatever. But then the best friend is like, I told you yesterday I was going to come, you know, and then she's like, I don't remember you saying that. But they'll just keep telling her, like, it's just because you're grieving, like, you don't remember, you know, it's been like a long day, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, yeah, maybe. So all that to say, like, she notices little things are different every time she wakes up, but she doesn't understand like why they're different. And so she's going along, and then she finally realizes, and she talks to this guy who's one of the main characters. His name is Luke for most of the book, but actually his name is Michael. And that's relevant because the guy that killed her brother's name is Michael. And that's him. But he doesn't want to tell her that he's the one who caused the accident, so he says that his name is Luke whenever he meets her. So he actually meets her at the funeral because he decides to go because he says that he just wanted to tell somebody that he was sorry. And he ends up bumping into Kathleen, and he doesn't tell her like, I just want to tell somebody that I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. He just like is talking to her, and then he's like trying to comfort her because she's obviously like she's having a really hard time at the funeral and everything. But they end up talking more and more. Like he kind of like always shows up. Like he we'll see her walking to school or walking from school and like offer her a ride. He just always seems to be around, and she like thinks it's weird at first, but then she's like, no, because he says that he's a friend of her brother's. And so she was like, oh, okay, like maybe he just wants to be close to the family because he is missing him too, whatever. But then you find out that, so he's the one that kind of tells her like, so what's really going on is that you are jumping from universe to universe, like from multiple realities. And so it's basically like if you're into Marvel and stuff, like now they're going into like the metaverse thing where like there's different branches of you in different universes doing similar things, but there's like little different choices that you made that like made a huge difference. So it's kind of like you're living a different life in a way. So that's basically what he tells her is going on, is like, but your awareness is jumping from each reality, so now you're seeing what's going on. And he tells her that he knows that that's what's going on because he has the same thing. And he said that it started to happen to him after he lost his family, like after he lost his parents. So I guess it's supposed to be a thing like related with grief. So she decides that every time she jumps, she starts making like different decisions, and in every reality that she jumps to, she starts making different decisions. And then she like names the realities. So she has like Kathleen, Kat, Kate, Kathy, like, you know, she just kind of does like different variations on her name. But okay, here's the weird part, right? This guy, Luke, you think at first maybe he's just being nice to her, maybe he's just concerned, he wants to take over the big brother void in her life, if you will. Yeah, that's not like how it really comes off though, because she starts to feel like a lot of attraction for him, like right off the bat, and he somewhat seems like he's also like giving off those vibes, like he actually likes her too. But then at the same time, he keeps saying how young she is, like, oh, you're so young, oh, you're so young, you're so young, you're so young. And it's like actually kind of cringy, right? And then he tells her that he is 23. She is 17 or 16 and he is 23. I believe she's 17 because I think she's like turning 18 in a few months or something like that. Like she was trying to get him on some kind of like technicality or whatever, because he does end up like almost kissing her and stuff like that, and then he's like, oh my gosh, you're just so young. And something about that rubs me the wrong way. Like, okay, you know that she's young, right? You've even dropped her off for high school. You dropped her off at her high school for class, you and your 23-year-old self, but then you still choose to pursue times where you're going after her and then you almost kiss her while also telling her that she's so young. Like, it's kind of giving Predator. I don't know. I did not love this. I did not love this dynamic. Okay. I'm a little pressed about it, right? Because I'm so mad, because I'm like, wait, like, how did I not remember that whole thing in this book? Like, I genuinely did not remember that being a thing. Like, I remember that she met this guy, Luke. I remember that they kind of like had a connection. She kind of liked him, but I remember him not really wanting anything with her, but she really liked him. But then at the end, like, they both admitted that they liked each other, but I don't remember this drastic age difference, you know? Like, okay, maybe because back then when I was younger, I probably thought like, oh wow, like, okay, you know, like, I didn't really think much of it. But nowadays I'm like, ew, that's so gross. Like, you couldn't find anybody your own age? Like, why are you going after this 17-year-old? You know, like, that's kind of sick. Actually, it's not kind of sick, it's very sick. And okay, so the worst part, right, is that the end, she realizes, right, because there's a point in this book where she's in one of her realities that she's really messed everything up, and she really has like a very, very hard home life. And she decides to get a bunch of drinks and some substance, and she sticks him in her backpack and decides to call him and have a night with him. And she's trying to make things happen, but he's like, no, like, I don't even drink, blah, blah, blah. And she gets him to drink, and then she gets him to do some substances. And I also did not remember that being a thing in the book. I was like, wait a minute. Like, wait, I read this when I was 12. Like, what was I doing reading this? You know, like, I was very confused. But then it's crazy too, right? Because she's like, okay, like, she's trying to make things happen, but then at some point she's like, wait, what do I even do if I make things happen? Because she's never been with a guy. Like, she's never even like kissed a guy before. So she's doesn't even know what she's doing, but she's trying to make things happen. And then he's like, he wants to, but then he's like, no. And then like they even like kiss and everything, but then he like stops it. And then he gets so drunk because he's feeling so bad that she's so young, sitting in his house trying to make things happen with him. And I was like, what the heck did I just read? Like, what did I just read? I was so confused. I was like, I do not remember that. I do not remember that being in the book. But then it keeps going, right? So then in the morning, his awareness, apparently it jumps whenever he gets drunk. So he tries not to drink. So in the morning, he didn't know who she was. And he was like, oh my gosh, you look so young. Like, did we do something? And she's like, I'm 21. And like, no, we didn't do anything. And then he's like, oh, okay. But okay, so she realizes, right, at some point that she can jump to a reality where her brother is alive. So she figures out how to do that. She ends up jumping to the reality where her brother is alive, and she's like, oh my gosh, I did it. I'm here. My brother is alive. I have my brother. This is a part where I really am like, I don't get it. You know, because she jumps to the reality where her brother is alive. She's happy for a while. She's like, oh my gosh, you know, I have my brother. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to have him. You know, everybody's happier that he's here. You know, I'm going to stay in this reality. She figures out how to stay in that reality and everything. So that happens, right? And then after a while, she's like, she misses Luke. She like really misses Luke. And she, even though she now knows, also, she now knows that he is the guy that killed her brother. But she is like, but, you know, I can't take away my feelings for him. Like, I already kind of fell for him and everything. And she's like, even though he did this horrible thing, which I also don't know how I feel about that. I don't really like that, to be honest. I think it's a little weird. But so she's there with her brother, her family, all that stuff. Then she starts missing Luke, and then she's like, maybe I made the wrong decision. She's like, my brother is here. He has his girlfriend. They're happy. My parents are cordial. They're happy. But I'm all alone. And I miss the guy that I fell in love with. Why not try to find him in that reality and make things happen? Like, y'all already know that you're gonna like each other. Like, obviously y'all are gonna like each other because the two of y'all, when you first met, you guys ended up liking each other. Like, why not go to him in that reality and start talking to him? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why she couldn't just do that, but she decides to leave the reality that she just worked so hard to get to with her brother alive, and she like says goodbye to her brother. I'm gonna miss you so much, blah blah. He doesn't know what she's talking about, obviously, because he doesn't know about the reality jumping or whatever. But she decides that she's going to go back to the reality where her brother has passed, but where she knows Luke. And I was just like, so you as a 17-year-old girl were so hard pressed about this guy who killed your brother in a car accident. Not on purpose, but who did that, and you're fine to just now go back to a reality where you don't have your brother, but you have him. What? Like, it just doesn't make sense, you know? Like, it doesn't make sense that she finally gets what she's been wanting this entire time. Like, she's seen how it has like completely destroyed her family to not have the brother, and it completely destroyed her. Like, it ripped her life apart, it ripped her family apart. Everything was bad because she didn't have the brother. She finally reaches a reality where she has her brother, and now she goes back because this 23-year-old man is the one that she wants to be with. What? Like, what? Like, this book is so ridiculous that I can't even like grasp why I thought it was so amazing. Like, the concept of the book, the concept is good. Like, the concept of like, oh, I'm grieving, so it's giving me some kind of power to like jump through realities, to like, basically it's saying like, you start jumping realities whenever you're in this grief because you're trying to find a reality where that person is alive. That's kind of like the gist of like why they think that they start, you know, reality jumping. So that's kind of like what they think is going on or whatever. But so like that kind of concept is good, but it's just the whole thing of like her thinking about Luke and his thinking and like what was going on, like who he really is, the fact that he's the one that got into the car accident with the brother, the fact that he is 23 and she's 17, she's not even graduated from high school yet, the fact that like, I don't know, just that he seemed like she's grieving, she's going through a hard time, and he keeps pursuing her. And so it's kind of like, are you like getting at her because she's in a really vulnerable moment? Like, I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way, obviously. And I was like, okay, I did not remember this book being that intense. I did not remember this book being that kind of like gross. Like, I know there's much worse. Trust me, there's much, much worse. Like, this guy at least did not like jump at the chance to do anything with her. Like, at least I can say that. But at the same time, like, it's just a weird concept. It's a really, really, really weird concept of a book. Like, mostly the dynamic between her and Luke is really what throws me off about the whole book, because I just don't agree. I don't agree with it. I don't like that this man has dropped you off at your high school and he is not in high school and he's older than you, and he looks at you as being so young, but then he also falls in love with you and like tells her that he loves her and everything. And that's just like icky to me. I don't know, it's like, I don't know, I don't like it. Yeah, not the book that I remember. It's really not the book that I remember. I don't know why I really did not see any of those aspects in the book whenever I first read them. But like I said, I think it's just something that you see differently whenever you read it with like an adult mindset. Like, wait a minute. Wait a dang minute. Like, what's going on here? You know, like when I was a kid, I wasn't really like focused on that part. I think I was more focused on like the reality jumping thing. Like, I just thought that that was so cool. It was such a cool concept that like that's what I loved about the book. But then I read the book and like really understood it and was like, no, that's gonna be a no for me. That's gonna be a no for me. Yeah, so that's my book review. Comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Bye.